Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. All attendees are currently in listen-only mode, and the webinar is also currently being recorded. It will be sent to all attendees by the end of the day tomorrow. My name is Julia Pasquarella. I'm the Content Marketing Manager at AYRO, and I will be facilitating the webinar today. I'll start with a brief introduction to AYRO. AYRO designs and produces zero-emissions vehicles that redefine the very nature of sustainability. Our newest vehicle in our product lineup is the AYRO Vanish, which is a utility low-speed electric EV or electric vehicle, or a LSEV. Today, during our webinar, we'll talk with two of our engineers about testing the AYRO Vanish. The presentation will last about 15 minutes and will be followed by a 15-minute question and answer session. If you have questions during the webinar, please type them in the Q&A window, and we'll get to them during the Q&A session. By the end of this webinar, we hope you have a solid understanding and an appreciation for the rigorous testing that the AYRO Vanish has undergone. And with that, I'd like to introduce our two speakers, Frank Ajay and Stefan Waller. And I will also hand it over to Frank to begin the presentation.
Thank you, Julia. So as Julia said earlier, the Vanish is going through rigorous testing, and part of the reasons we want to test the Vanish is to make sure it meets our internal standards and also meets the standards for our customer experience. So on the topic of testing and development, part of our systems we are developing and testing will be the regenerative braking system. Now, what is regenerative braking? So this is a process of recouping the energy from the braking system back into the battery pack. And the reason why this is important for the Vanish is it helps improve the efficiency of the Vanish, so you get better range. It helps reduce the wear and tear we get on the brake system, so you get better value for your money. And also, it helps us leverage better customer experience because we are now able to give the customers the experience of one pedal driving. So this is the use of a single pedal without the use of the brake pads to drive the vehicle. So how do we test for this regenerative braking? So we test by the stopping distance, since it simulates the braking system. So we use this to determine targets for our regenerative braking, or how harsh or how loose our regenerative braking is. Also, part of our tests for the effectiveness of our regenerative braking would be efficiency tests. So we'd like to know how much energy per mile the vehicle consumes while the regenerative braking system is active. So part of the next steps for the regen as we test, it's showing great potential, and we are happy to say that we meet our internal standards, and hopefully that gives better customer experience to our users. So another part of our testing and development would be in the suspension tuning. So I'll let Stefan take that over.
Thank you, Frank. So first of all, what is suspension tuning and why is it important to us? Overall, the process of modifying suspension components that makes the vehicle handle well, feel comfortable, and operate safely both fully unloaded and loaded. We started with the basic vehicle design, and then through driving and adapting things like suspension stiffness, shock tuning, and suspension geometry, we've made changes to the vehicle to make it perform as intended for the customer off the initial base design. Most LSEVs in this space generally aren't very comfortable, don't handle well, and they can't keep up the variety of tasks that they're designed to do, like large payloads. We want to make sure that the Vanish excels in all of these areas. So we put a lot of work into track testing and validating the suspension with an eye towards functionality and best ride dynamics in the industry. The Vanish is designed to be highly adaptable, and suspension reflects that. It's equipped with an adjustable front coilover suspension that allows the ability of users to change front ride height if needed, and they're the only LSEV in the market currently that we know of that has this capability. What do we look for when we're actually testing the track? We're looking to make changes that affect the ride, vehicle handling, stability, and load capacity of the vehicle. This is done on and off pavement in a test loop that we developed here. Smaller LSEVs generally also have a narrower wheelbase, so we've worked really hard to control the center of gravity of the Vanish so it's just right so that it can be stable, predictable, and safe as possible while still maintaining maximum payload capacity. So far in performance, we've made huge improvements over the last few weeks at the track. We finalized the front and rear suspension dynamics and the steering system changes, and all that's been moved over past testing and validation over towards our LRIP vehicles that we're currently building for production. The Vanish's driving experience is the closest LSEV that you'd find similar driving experiences you'd expect in your own personal vehicle. To go with that, the other types of performance testing we've been doing all relate to we're focusing really heavily on acceleration and deceleration testing. We have really high expectations for the performance specs of this vehicle. We don't just want to meet government regulation standards. We also want to make sure that the Vanish accelerates and decelerates smoothly, as efficiently as possible, regardless of the payload of the environment that we're in. We're paying a lot of attention to driver feel, vehicle capability, and specifically tuning throttle response to make acceleration as smooth as possible to improve drivability, to mimic the real world experience of driving on a standard on-road vehicle. For example, we're also testing a creep mode that will simulate the feeling that drivers get from a standard automatic transmission vehicle when they're rolling or releasing from the brake from a stoplight or a stop sign. On deceleration, we've been testing and tuning intelligent coasting mode that's designed for both drivability and efficiency in mind with the regen that Frank talked about earlier. The coasting mode kicks in when the driver takes their foot off the brake, or excuse me, when they lift off the accelerator on a flat road or a grade, for example. It waits for regen to kick in so you can coast longer downhill, and then regen can control low speed deceleration so you get some of that efficiency back as well. We want to make sure the Vanish is just as capable as a full standard sized vehicle. So we've been testing the ability to drive up steep grades up to 30%, even while fully loaded. This is important to us because we've tested none of the testing and tuning that we've talked about is actually required by law. In fact, this type of testing is generally reserved for the automotive industry world at higher levels in performance vehicles, but we think it's crucial and capable. It requires us to build a vehicle that's reliable, capable, and the most utilitarian friendly LSEV that people actually enjoy driving. So far, it's been performing extremely well. It's climbed up steep grades and incline with ease with great throttle response, and creep mode and coast mode are certainly going under final adjustments as we move towards production, and these get pushed out into vehicles. We'll continue to ongo future testing as we transition from this validation and functioning phase of our vehicles. And as that gets wrapped up, we're going to continue doing durability and life cycle testing to validate our vehicle for long life cycle use for all of our customers. And that's currently what we're continuing to do as we transition away.
Awesome. Thank you both for that wonderful presentation. And with that, let's move on to Q&A. Let's see which questions have come in. Okay, so the first one is, what is the 0 to 25 mile per hour time? Or like how fast can it accelerate from 0 to 25 miles per hour?
So right now, we'll say the Vanish, the target we have for the Vanish for 0 to 25 was about 9 seconds. And we like to say that the Vanish far exceeds that target. So we continue to improve the Vanish, like Stefan said. So I'll say closer to 0 to 20 in about 6 seconds will be our target.
Great, thank you. The next question is, what is the range for the Vanish?
So the current range for the Vanish is currently targeted at 50 miles. And as we undergo testing, we would like to announce that is a feasible target for the Vanish, and that should be the production range post LRIP.
Great. The next question that has come in is there an indication on screen that tells you how many miles are left on the battery?
Yeah, we currently have that feature, and it's a algorithm learning feature that learns kind of the battery and the driving case that the vehicle is being driven under, and adapts to that like you'd find in most road vehicles currently that have the same thing.
Awesome, thank you. The next question is, who's the target consumer? And I can go ahead and answer this one. The target consumer is like universities, stadiums, large corporate campuses, any place that you're needing to drive short distances, and where you might not need like a full-sized truck, but still need like the carrying capacity of a full-sized truck. That's really where these vehicles shine. And then the next question, what is the payload and towing capacity for the Vanish?
The max gross weight of the vehicle is registered at 3,000 pounds. So we're planning for a 1,200 pound payload.
And okay, yep. Is there a plan for a faster speed version, more than 25 miles per hour? I can also answer this one. Currently, no. Right? If we're an LSEV manufacturer, so right now we're sticking to that market. The next question. Oh, how soon can we like get one of the AYRO Vanishes?
We've currently entered low rate production, with full production taking rate next year. So we're starting to deliver vehicles to customers soon under the LRIP program, and then full production and order with the current pre-orders you see are where that's going to start taking place.
Yeah, so if you are interested in purchasing one, we do have a pre-orders site available where you can place your pre-order now. All right. And I think with that, I think that might be all of our questions coming through. So I guess that brings the webinar to a close. Thank you all again for joining us. We will have another webinar next month. This will be a series, so we hope that you'll join us. If you're interested in learning more about the AYRO Vanish, please visit our website, which is you can access via the QR code here. And again, yeah, if you want to place a pre-order, please go ahead and do so. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks.